It is 6 o'clock, and I will call this City Council meeting of August 16th, 2022 to order. I'm presiding this evening at the request of Mayor Severns. Tonight, our invocation will be led by Pastor Ron Lawler, Family Bible Church. Those who wish to join us in the invocation, please rise.
Let's pray. Father, again, we are very thankful for the privilege and opportunity to live in this beautiful place. And I want to thank you also for the ladies and gentlemen that are dedicating their time and their effort to study, to think, to negotiate, to lead our community. We pray that you'll grant them grace and peace and wisdom, that you'll bless their families for the time that's sacrificed, and that you'll make this a fruitful time. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Councilmember Munns, will you please lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you so much. Tonight, this will be both a physical meeting location and a virtual meeting. Tonight's meeting may be viewed live via our YouTube channel and on cable channel 10, HD 1090. City staff are participating both in person and via teleconference. Guests that are included in staff presentations will be excused from Ring Central at the conclusion of the agenda item as appropriate. I think we have a full council, but at this time I will have our City Clerk, Julie, do a roll call.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Councilmember Munns? Present. Councilmember Evans?
Present.
Councilmember Hoffmeyer?
Present.
Councilmember Wiesner?
Present.
Councilmember Stuckey?
Present.
Councilmember Marshall?
Present.
Mayor Pro Tem, all members of council are present.
Thank you, Julie. Are there any suggested changes to the agenda? Okay, hearing none, the agenda is approved as presented. Tonight, we have two presentations on the agenda. The first is Cynthia Mason on behalf of the Oak Harbor Music Festival.
Hi, everybody. Thank you for allowing us this time. My name is Cynthia Mason, and I joined the Oak Harbor Music Festival team in 2014 and have had the pleasure of leading as president since 2016. I'd like to take a moment just to recognize the dedicated board who works all year to plan this world-class event. We've got our founding board member, Margaret Livermore, as our vice president and lead on arts and crafts vendors. In 2015, Gary Jandinsky joined as ops lead. River Power in 2016 and serves as our secretary and in charge of merchandise. Also in 2016, Bill Walker joined and has done a great job at leading our beer and wine garden. Eric Schilling joined in 2017 as our food vendor chair and Deb Fisher as treasurer in 2020. Newest member to the table is Mary Anderson. Mary is currently holding the role of fund development chair. Former directors Cheryl Jandinsky and founding director Len Goebel have served as our governance committee since they termed their chair positions. Lastly, we're really fortunate to have founding board member Larry Mason, who can't be here tonight, and sends his best. He's at a ribbon cutting in Coopville on a building he's been working on for 2.5 years, so he's excited there. He was raised here in Oak Harbor and brings his experience of the music world to the table, all things music and stages for the event. The Oak Harbor Music Festival is celebrating 10 years this September, and on behalf of the entire board, we'd like to thank the city for its partnership and support year over year. The community is an enormous part in making this festival successful. We truly couldn't do it without the incredible volunteer base that show up and do the work of hosting our guests to the downtown area of Oak Harbor. as we have demonstrated this year that we're continuing to build community one note at a time with the addition of the Sounds of Summer concert series, teaming with the Whidbey Island Group. We'd like to take time to introduce you to something else we've been working on. Bill's been the lead on this effort, so I'd like to invite Bill up here to tell you what we're up to.
Thank you for your time. Appreciate you supporting our festival for the last 10 years. And as Cynthia mentioned, we couldn't do this without the community, and something new that we've come up with this year after a few years of work really illustrates that. And I'm really proud of my fellow board members and the community for helping us to put this together. But we, over the last 10 years, have handed to graduating seniors in our community over $60,000 in scholarships to help them continue their interest and their passion for music. And it came to our minds a few years ago, what about little kids that can't afford to take lessons, can't afford to get that first instrument? And we put our heads together with Oak Harbor Public Schools and came up with something called the Quarter Note Fund for Young Musicians. And we created this in memory of Gregory Johnson, who is a young local musician who passed away suddenly a couple of years ago. And with support from the community and dedication from our board and adding it to our budget for this year, next week at the Sounds of Summer concert on the 24th, you will see us present a check to Oak Harbor Schools for musical instruments for young middle school kids for $10,000. And I am just super proud of our board and our community for putting this together. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you very much for your support.
So we formally invite you to attend the 2020 event on Labor Day weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday of September 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. And we've got some of stickers for you, like we bring you every year, along with the 2021 annual report for you to look at. It shows you how we're spending our money from our donors. And in closing, this board is dedicated and will continue to inspire our community with the power of music. Also, in celebrating the milestone of the board's this milestone with the board's focus, it's to acknowledge our sponsors, community, and the city staff that makes it all happen. We contracted Willie Shaw of Shaw Photography to create a lasting memory, and we'd like to debut this video here tonight. So again, thank you, 1,000 thank yous for everybody in the community, sponsors and city staff that help us do this.
I know I have to say it is my favorite festival that the community's ever had.
It is a magical 3-day event.
And then to have live music and beer gardens and wine.
Everybody was there dancing and tears were coming down our eyes because we did it.
My most favorite memory of 10 years ago was the very first one.
We were told we couldn't make it happen, and it was a sacrifice from everybody in the community.
Me being a volunteer, it touches my heart and it makes me feel so proud and so good to be able to give my time and my energy into such a great organization.
I plan my vacations around the Oak Harbor Music Festival.
I think if I can summarize the music festival in one word, I would say community.
Would be magical.
And I think one of my favorite things is always when working in the beer garden and chatting with folks and finding out what do they think about our beautiful community and how they love coming to Oak Harbor, and they come back year after year to enjoy the Oak Harbor Music Festival.
One word to summarize the music festival. Well, I'd give you 2 words: music inspires. That's been our tagline from day one. Inspire our community through the power of music. On behalf of the Oak Harbor Music Festival, we want to thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. I have to say it is my favorite.
Thank you so much, Cynthia and Music Festival Committee. Before we move on to our next presentation, I'll just ask if any members of council have any comments. Just use the hand raise feature in Ring Central and I'll give you a minute to speak. Councilmember Munns, go ahead.
Thank you. I think Larry was right. Music inspires, but I don't think there's enough words to come out with all of it. It inspires, it makes you feel, you see colors. I mean, it's just everything. And it really has been a blessing to our community, and I thank you all for it.
Councilmember Hoffmeyer.
The music festival is truly one of the greatest things that Oak Harbor has. You know, so many marvelous moments and memories over these last 10 years down there. I would love to say that I've never missed an act down there, but there's 2 stages, right? So, but I've been there every second of those 10 years, and thank you so much for all you do, and it truly is some of the greatest memories that we all will take with us. Thanks.
Thank you. Councilmember Wiesner.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Yeah, yes, thank you for the gift to the community, right? Fantastic 3-day weekend out in the evening with your friends, listening to great music, and you folks have brought it together, and we appreciate that, and thank you very much.
Just check in, see if anybody else has their hand raised here. I'd like to echo those comments. I was on that planning committee the very first year, and it was a challenge, and I don't think we had any idea that we knew it would be popular, but we didn't have any idea it would grow to be quite the phenomenon that it is now. And I'll never forget, after the very end, at the very last act, and the festival was over, and the music stopped, and it was time to start cleaning up and putting things away. Everybody in attendance, instead of just turning around and going back to their cars or going home, they all picked up a chair and started putting them away, and just like everybody pitched in and got to work. And that is a core memory of mine. It actually made me pretty emotional to see the whole community chipping in and helping, even when the fun was over and the music had stopped. So you guys have really created an amazing thing. Thank you. And next up, on to another one of my favorite events. We've got Jared, is it Loranger or Loranger? I apologize. Jared from Fizz Events to give us a presentation on the Whidbey Island Marathon. Go ahead, Jared.
Awesome, thank you. And it's good to see most of the faces that I've met before and the others that I haven't. I'm excited to meet all of you as well. So thank you for letting me come on here. I'd like to do just a quick presentation on just a recap of the Whidbey Island Marathon this year. That was in April again this year. Last year we had to postpone it all the way through till September. And this year we were able to go back to our normal end of April date. So it was pretty exciting to do. And I think I actually need to share my screen to play this, so let me see if I can do that real quick. Apparently I need to go to system preferences here, so give me a second. I figured it would just do this. Give me a sec. Actually, it now tells me I have to quit and leave the meeting. So do you want me to do that real quick?
Jared, this is Mikhail. I can show the 5 slides to you.
Okay.
Thank you, Mikhail.
I think my version looks a little different than hers. We'll see if it works. Awesome. That is it. Thank you very much. Sorry about that. So, like I said, we were able to return to our April 24th date that we've historically been on, which is a great time. It brings people back to the community right before the summer hits, and we're in that off-shoulder season still to bring more people to the community. So, excited to be able to do the event again. And this year, actually, our weather was, for once in a long time, nice, sunny. So, yeah, go to the next slide. So on this slide, it just has a bunch of demographics to kind of talk about the participants and where they came from. One of the things that I always like to highlight is obviously the total number of registrants there. You can see at the bottom in 2022, we were actually up participants. Looks like I missed updating that, but where it says 2018, that's actually our 2021 number. So September of last year, we actually had 1,179 participants. This year, in less than 6 months' time, we brought out 1,239 people. So though it doesn't seem like we were up very many, we were up 60 participants, which I produce about 20 races a year across the Northwest. And this is the only race that I produce, or that any race that I know of that other people produce, that was actually up participants from 21 to 22. And that's still stemming from different travel restrictions, different variations of COVID, and different people just unwilling to travel. So seeing that our numbers were actually, in fact, increased from year over year was super neat to see, even though I can tell you, so where it says Whidbey Island Marathon fun facts there, states represented in 2019, I know we were at about 37 countries, we were at about 5. So knowing our people traveling from out of state was less makes me encouraged for future years, knowing that our totals were still up. So more people in Washington were running, wanting to get out of the house. We're able to make it a weekend destination. So knowing next year those people will start to come back again makes me excited for 2023 and beyond, knowing our numbers can then increase again. But even with that, we still had what looks to be over 100 people from out of state that participated. Our average age was right about 37, 38, which is about the average we see across nationwide running races. But the cool thing is we still had a female-male gender breakdown of about 60-40, which trends pretty much right where it always has for both this race and other races across the nation. It's a proven fact. Women are much more willing to train and actually continue their training schedule. Most men say they're going to run a marathon and then downgrade to the half. So that's what we see every year. On the far right there, the geographics there, Whidbey Island residents, about 32% of the participation was from Whidbey Island. Traveling more than 50 miles, which is a big LTAC funding portion that we get. We had over 50% of the people who participated in the race come from over 50 miles away. So they're either staying on the island, they're driving for a day, or they're staying with friends and relatives. And it's cool to see. This is the whole point of this race, is to bring more people to the area and let them experience Oak Harbor and Whidbey Island as a whole, not just for the race, but for the weekend. Then you can see more age breakdowns, different event breakdowns. So our average age is right about 30 to 39, with 30 and plus stemming to be the majority. So about trending where we always have, but it's a big family event. It's a big, as you can see in the pictures to the right, there's a family on the bottom that participated in different races. On the top, there was a group of friends that participated in what looks to be, just judging by the medals, 3 different races. So it's cool to see. One person comes, they convince other people to come run a longer distance or a shorter distance. So again, good year for the race in terms of numbers. Next slide, please. And then here's just our marketing efforts that we did. This year we had different print publications, including Race Center Northwest, Adventures Northwest, Run Guides, and then on island we advertised in the Whidbey Weekly leading up to the event about 10 to 15 weeks in advance. New was actually Run Guides. This is one that actually promotes to the running community across the state. They can search for different races across the state. And our numbers actually were really good. We actually wrapped the website for about 2 months with Whidbey Island promotions and saw a lot of click-throughs that we hadn't seen in the past. So it was neat to see. We also increased our Facebook marketing, our Facebook interactions. And that was, we've seen a bigger trend across the past few years, and more people are more social, more shares, more likes, more clicks via that. And that's the same thing I'm sure most of you are used to when you're sitting at the bus stop or sitting at the doctor's office. You're scrolling through your phone and looking at different things. So our goal is to take advantage of that and see how many more people we can get to come. And the more times they see that Whidbey Island Marathon promotion, the more likely they're going to finally click and sign up. So we did that. We also did 8 different promotional emails that I send to my database of about 55,000 unique emails, and that's across the state and across the nation based on all the different races we promote to that database to help get more people to come and participate in the race. And then one thing that we've done in the past, the Salish Sea running series, we partner with a group of other races here across Washington state that are about similar in size, about 1,200 to 2,000 participants, and we try to promote other people's races and make it almost a event in itself, where if you do more than one of the events across the year, then we reward you with more swag, so a shirt, a medal, and all that different stuff. One cool thing is we actually last year added the Victoria Marathon across in Canada there as one of the Salish Sea partners, and it made it the only international race series happening that rewards participants for participating in different races. So this will be year 2 of having them as a partner race. Their race is in October, so I'm excited to see our numbers once that race finishes and how many more people participated this year. The pictures here just shows you the different swag that we gave away. We gave away a different shirt for each participant. Each different participant got a unique medal that highlighted it's actually the lighthouse that I think is down in Coopville or very close to there this year. And then obviously we highlight Deception Pass Bridge as our kind of picture for everybody to see, and the reason we convince people to run across the bridge and come up do the marathon. So next slide for me. This one just highlights our volunteers that we had at the event. We had over 10 volunteers at the pre-race expo. We had 20 plus at the start line that helped all the way through the finish. We had about 25 on course there helping to direct participants which way to go and where to turn and make sure they were cheering them on and keeping them safe. And then throughout the 18 different water stations, we had over 120 volunteers from the community, and it's everyone from different churches or youth groups, or like it says here, North Island Medical or Oak Harbor ham radio operators. All these people volunteer their time every year. We fill these water stations pretty quickly from different groups across the community, different military jurisdictions that come out and really support the race. And honestly, this race couldn't happen without the support of all those different volunteers that seem to email me before I can even get out to them each year, because they want to know when it is and they want to make sure they've got their water station saved, and they set it up and make it fun. If you've come off a hill or you're going down a hill or it's mile 20, they're there to cheer you on and keep you going and playing music and handing you water and other different things they provide for you. So it's really cool to see the community actually turn out for this event and want to support it. If they're not running, they want to be a part of it still, which is really cool to see. So I just want to say thank you to all those volunteers. I want to say thank you to all the city council members that come out every year to help support the race and hand out medals and work with me to start the different distances or go to the marathon start line and kick that race off. So it's really cool to see all the support that everybody provides across the community, and it's all 100% volunteerism, and it's awesome. So thank you. Some highlights from 2022. We were back at Windjammer Park for our second year once the park reopened, and I can't tell you how many people say how beautiful that park is now and how excited they are to be there, from vendors to volunteers to the different sponsors and all the participants. It makes for an awesome venue to start at. So super cool to be able to do that. One thing we ran into that was a challenge in the beginning this year, we typically start at the boat launch up at Pass Lake. This year they had a sinkhole in the parking lot, which closed it for lots of months and made us move. So we ended up having to move down to Bowman Bay. I was worried about it because it adds a half mile, which is basically straight uphill. But the state park was awesome to work with, and all the participants really liked it. It made for a gorgeous backdrop. And so super neat. We may end up starting down there for years to come now because of it. Let me see here. Again, like I highlighted, we returned to our historical April date after 1 year in September, which again was well received. People really liked the cooler temperatures and able to do it as a kind of gearing up towards their summer running season. So great time of year. This year we actually had Whidbey Makers Market come in and join us at the finish line. So they brought in some unique, cool craft booths that people were able to buy flowers or different chocolates or different stuff like that, which was a cool, unique experience that was different than a normal marathon finish line. We also had live music there all day. And then last thing for 2023, possibly looking at making a couple tweaks to the race route to hopefully make it a little flatter and hopefully get more people out there and come participate in our race as they gear up towards their summer running season. So super excited for what we can do next year once we're back into, hopefully, fingers crossed, no big COVID restrictions, and allowing a lot of people to get on planes and come travel or come stay in hotels and do those sort of things. One thing I do know is we were, again, every hotel in Oak Harbor and across the island were over about 98% full on race day, or the night before, that Saturday. And that weekend they were at over 90% capacity. So it's another event that packs the room nights and puts the heads in beds that I know the LTAC committee likes to see. So that's our goal every year, is to continue to bring people out, to put people in hotel rooms and sell out those restaurants and sell gas at the gas stations and make sure all those different storefronts are getting the business that we're hoping for. So another successful year. Looking forward to 2023. And I think there may be one more slide. And this was, again, just a thank you. Our slogan here is run for a day, play for the weekend. It's our slogan. It means come on up and experience Oak Harbor for the entire weekend and enjoy your race. So a few pictures from our last year here, people running across the bridge, obviously our band there, and some of the smiling faces at the sunny finish line for once in the last couple of years. So that's all I've got for you. Thank you again to the committee and everybody who has supported this race for many years. I can't say thank you enough to the military. If they're watching, the Oak Harbor Navy really comes out and supports this as well. So thank you, everybody. Open for questions. Happy to answer anything I can.
Thank you so much, Jared. Again, I'll give council a chance to speak. If anybody has any comments or would like to speak, go ahead and raise your hand in Ring Central. Councilmember Munns, go ahead.
Thank you. Jared, I heard you say we're back to an April date. I didn't remember hearing the date.
I usually have this conversation with special events, and last year we were on the 24th, and I try and stay as late as I can. It factors with Easter, and it factors with, Holland Happenings, I think, is typically the weekend after. So I let them get their choice of if they're happening, and if they're not, then I take as late as I can in April. But right now, my guesses will be April 23rd this year, with Holland Happenings being probably the 29th and 30th. So April 23rd's my goal. Unless Holland Happenings doesn't happen, then we'll push back.
All right, thank you very much. And it is a wonderful event, and I've always enjoyed being a volunteer when I can. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Munns. I'm just doing a final check to make sure I haven't missed anybody. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much, Jared, for the update. Always look forward to hearing the numbers and the more than half the participants coming from a distance. That's incredible. I had no idea it was that many people coming on the island. So, wow, good for you.
Thank you.
Of course. Okay, thank you so much. Okay. All right, next up, we've got our citizen comment period. Citizens may comment on subjects of interest that are not listed in the agenda or comment on items listed on the consent agenda. Citizens may also comment on the corresponding agenda items when it comes time to discuss that agenda item later in the meeting. There are many ways to contact us, all of which are posted here. Citizens can check our website for methods to submit public comment or contact our city clerk, Julie Lindsay, by phone or email as noted on the screen. When submitting comments, please include your name and address. Public comments that are sent anonymously are shared with the mayor and the council, but are not displayed publicly. Let's see, additional options for contacting city council members are on the screen. Council members also have individual email addresses, all of which are listed on the website. So since our last regular meeting, we have received several comments from the public, which have been forwarded to the mayor and council. We received a number of submitted comments regarding a developer's proposal for land use. Other comments were submitted directly to the project and will be included in that process. The developer is responsible for meeting the zoning and permitting requirements. All comments received as public will be displayed now. I believe our city administrator will go into a little more detail about that when once all of the comments have been displayed. So go ahead. Thank you, Julie.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem, I'll go ahead and read the comments if you're ready.
Go ahead, thank you.
Okay, Oak Harbor City Administrator Blaine Oborn. The city has received some comments from the public about potential development on State Route 20 for a car wash and Sonic drive-in. It is great to see the community get involved. Your comments are appreciated. The city and staff do not decide which business will go into
an available parcel for development or retail. Developers decide the type of business they want to place in the location based upon marketing, research, and for the area they are planning to develop. Development services staff, however, will work with the developer to confirm that they have met the application and zoning requirements. The notification to the public about the development is a requirement for our Oak Harbor Municipal Code and SEPA, which stands for the State Environmental Policy Act. Additionally, the city created a form to compile all comments with public about this project. However, these comments will go through the process to staff for compiling to submit to the hearing examiner and planning commission. And then also there was other comments regarding city operations and safety, and those have already been forwarded to staff.
Thank you, Mr. Oborn. Julie, do we have anyone signed in to make a comment?
Yes, we do, Mayor Pro
If there
Tem.
is- Okay, if there are any members of the public present that wish to speak, I'll have Julie call your name in the order in which you signed up. Please step forward to the microphone, state your name and address, and limit your comments to 3 minutes. Julie will be keeping time. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. The first on our list is Carol Clayton.
Good evening. My address is 586 Southwest Fairhaven Drive, Oak Harbor. I'm on the corner of Southwest 6th and Fairhaven. I've lived at this address since 2009, and I love Oak Harbor. It's been wonderful. But recently, well, it's been 3, maybe 4 years ago, I was working in my yard, and I saw a man watching children walking across the intersection during school. Well, I went to inquire and found out that it was a city worker and that he was indeed there on business, and that he had heard that it was a dangerous intersection and he was there taking notes. So 3 or 4 years later, I believe it was last night or the night before, it sounded like a drag race. And I am a fan of drag racing. So, but one particular red Corvette convertible went at least 4 times around, and then they never stopped, and they would just gun it, and it was loud, and it was like post-adolescence. I mean, that kind of behavior. We also have a preschool on the corner of, well, it's just 1 block east. And it seems like it's just getting worse with the traffic. And my daughter, I believe, sent a video of people just not stopping. And that has really got me concerned. This little baby lives at our house, and coming down 6th going east at that intersection, you go directly into my garage if you don't stop. And we have had to have garage doors replaced. Someone had a seizure and went through. So it's a very personal thing for safety, and not only my grandchildren, but it's across the school from Broadview. And the next person will talk more on that. So that is my concern, safety. I'm bringing it to your attention so we can make it safe. So now, one thing that has been wonderful is the junior high down the street on 6th. They now have 2 humps, lights, and so forth. And I got a grandchild that goes there too. So that is one great thing that the city has done, and I thank you very much. Any questions or?
Mayor Pro Tem, next on our list is Desi, please excuse me if I've mispronounced that, Zenner.
I am Deja Galati Zenner, and I also live at 586 Southwest Fairhaven. And I have 2 kids in the school system. My son, who goes to Ojai, or not Ojai, yeah, that's what it's called. And then my daughter goes to Broadview. And the intersection of Southwest 6 and Fairhaven is scary. I've almost been hit twice in the crosswalk. When I'm looking both ways, I'm in the middle of the intersection. I thought the car would surely stop. I stopped as she pulled through and finally was kind of creeping through the intersection. I knocked on her window and scared her. She wasn't even looking at me. And then another car, I quit walking so they could just continue going so I didn't get hit. Another friend of mine who also has children at Broadview Elementary, she walks about 3 blocks to walk her kids every morning. She said the mornings are the worst walking her kids to school. She's almost been hit with her children in the intersection on numerous occasions. She wanted me to pass that along. Her name is Alicia Cox. And the crossing guard ladies, I stand at the door and watch them when my daughter goes across the street. There's been many times when they're yelling at cars to slow down or that they need to stop. They're stopping traffic, with their own bodies. I've almost seen children get hit because cars just are in a hurry. They're trying to do their drop off or they're trying to get to work. There's just no regard for stop signs. I've been working in the summertime. I walk children across that street because it is scary, and they're standing there waiting for these cars to stop, and they'll stop but keep going. They don't notice someone trying to go through. So I'm just hoping we can do something about it. And the cars racing has been also very scary. They won't even stop they'll gun down 6 all across in front of the school, straight through the intersection, no stopping, and I've witnessed it twice, and straight up the hill. It's just like this raceway. So thank you.
Next on our list is, Duncan Chalfant.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. My name is Duncan Chalfant, and I live at 3071 Angela Lane. I'm here with several other OGOS members, Laura, Kathy, and Charlotte, and I want to talk about a couple issues. The OGOS adopted the landscape in front of the post office sign and the right-of-way between City Beach Street and the parking lot at the post office, and we did that in 2017 through the Adopt a Parks program here by the city, and we've been developing a native plant garden ever since. OGOS has installed 2 interpretive signs to that area approved by the city, and the native plants all have little name tags next to them. And there are 2 Gary oak saplings in that area replacing the big oak that was cut down. In the past several days, someone came through and chopped off all the native shrubs in the right-of-way strip, as well as topping one of the Gary oak saplings in 4 places and topping a madrone tree. They did this even though there's clearly visible sign that says Adopt a Park Program, Oak Harbor Gary Oak Society. They did this even though the new postmaster, Maria Aquino, spoke with me in person, and I told her that we maintained the area and to talk to us if she needed anything. She agreed at that time, which was early July. Cutting the top off the Gary oak tree violates the City of Oak Harbor's Gary oak ordinance. It also makes it impossible now to train the tree to grow up and be above the sign, since it has basically been hedged. The madrone tree is a total loss. To several of the shrubs in the right-of-way, such as the twinberry and mock orange, will never return to their native form. We hope that the appropriate person in the city will investigate both the cutting off of the top of the Gary oak tree and the cutting back of the shrubs in the city property in a horticulturally unsound way. We met with Tally of the City Parks Department at the site this morning, and he has videos of the damage. We further hope that the city administration can find additional ways to better inform the community of the need to protect our namesake oak trees. In a separate issue, the recently installed interpretive sign in the Windjammer Park, paid for by OGOS, was graffitied. One of our members volunteered and cleaned up the sign. OGOS is a committed partner in keeping our parks looking nice. We'd like to additionally voice our appreciation for Tally Huck of the Parks Department. He's been helpful and a knowledgeable resource in our endeavors. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next on our list is Kathy Chalfant.
Hello, my name is Kathy Chalfant, and I live at 3071 Angela Lane in Oak Harbor. I had a landscape maintenance business in Oak Harbor for 36 years until I retired in 2020. I know the importance of caring for and maintaining landscapes. I am concerned that the City of Oak Harbor has increased the workload of the Parks Department, specifically through the expanded Windjammer Park, a splash park, concrete, more landscaping, and it doesn't appear that they've increased the personnel to cover this. Oak Harbor is a member of Tree City USA and as such is required to spend a certain amount of time and resources on maintaining trees. I urge you to fund and staff the Parks Department so they can adequately do their job. Shouldn't we have city parks that are beautiful and inviting to both the locals and the visitors alike? Thank you.
Thank you. Next on our list is Laura Renninger.
Good evening. I am Laura Renninger, longtime Oak Harborite and president of the Oak Harbor Gary Oak Society. I live at 730 Southeast Mailer Street. What OGOS hears consistently from members of the public is the story of what happened to the giant old oak at the post office site in 2014 is inherently part of the history of the site, our story, and our community. The old oak was a tree that we loved. Fast forward to 2022, where two sturdy young oaks have been rising near what is left of the giant stump in the native garden pocket park at the post office. Within the past week, one of the oaks was very severely pruned. By whom and why, we do not know. As a designated Tree City USA, the City of Oak Harbor needs to maintain its commitment to grow, tend, and protect these valuable Gary oaks within our parks as public assets, as well as the fragile wildflowers and vegetation encompassing the oak ecosystems. Thank you for listening.
Mayor Pro Tem, that concludes the list of those who had signed up to speak.
Thank you, Julie. Is there anyone else present in council chambers that didn't sign up that would wish to speak? Okay. All right, next up, we will move to the consent agenda. Staff has presented the list of consent agenda items, all of which are in the meeting packet. Are there any objections or changes to the consent agenda? If so, please raise your hand in Ring Central. All right, seeing none, the consent agenda is approved as presented. Next up, Mayor's comments. I'll make these comments on behalf of Mayor Severns. U.S. Representative Rick Larson made a visit to the city last week on Tuesday the 9th. He met with city leadership staff to discuss city projects and funding opportunities. Road construction projects for pavement preservation projects are continuing through September of 2022. Please see the city's website for details. The Splash Park update. City crews are making adjustments to the water flow and the intervals at Shipwreck Shores. We appreciate the comments that we received from those enjoying the park. That feedback is very helpful in letting us know what the best course of action is on controlling that water flow. There's some upcoming events. Those are shown on the screen. And city offices and facilities will be closed on Monday, September 5th in observance of Labor Day. Please see our website for trash collection schedule changes. And that is it for announcements. Next up, we will move to council comments. Again, if you have a comment, please raise your hand in Ring Central. Go ahead, Councilmember Wiesner.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. First off, I'd like to thank city staff and the city administrator for working on that whole splash park deal. I know I've been a little bit of a thorn in everybody's side, but you know, we're going to get that right for the kids in our community, and staff I know is working hard to do that, and you know, we're going to get that timing right and the water flow right, and yeah, appreciate all the efforts and you guys working on that and staying on top of it. And then, you know, what a great meeting, right? We get to talk about the, you know, the marathon and the music festival, and then we've got hydros coming up this weekend. Just a quick update from that. We've got 38 race teams coming to town. You know, each of those race teams are going to bring, you know, 6 to 8 people with them, and they're all coming from, you know, many miles away, some of them as far as California and Idaho. And sounds like, you know, with those 38 race teams, we're going to start racing about 11 o'clock each day, and we're going to be racing until 6 p.m. at night. Sounds like 18 heats each day, so a lot of racing going on. So invite the public down, free event. And to top it all off, we're going to be having a car show on Saturday, 9 to 3. So far, from what I've heard, we've got about 160 cars registered for that, so it's going to be a pretty good-sized show. So that'll be happening then Saturday, 9 to 3, hydros 11 to 6, and then Sunday hydros will have a repeat. So look forward to seeing the community out. Car show will be on Pioneer Way, and hydros will be taking place on Bayshore Drive. 40 vendors, so great turnout. Thanks.
Thank you, Councilmember Wiesner. Councilmember Hoffmeyer.
In the spare time that I've had, which isn't a whole lot, you know, I've been jumping in and helping the fire department get some signs up, and I only mention that to point out their support, that the Oak Harbor Fire Department support that you'll find out in the community is astounding. You know, it's while reaching out and getting these signs up, it's been kind of a good, you know, a good buddy check type thing, if you will. And keep up the good work, council. That's that seems to be the overwhelming theme out there. So to all of council, I think that's always nice to hear. You know, and another thing that I wanted to mention, something that I never thought I would have the opportunity to sit at this dais and mention. Slews tis whiz. What could I possibly be talking about? My friend, Carl Craig, his horse, Slews tis whiz, won the Longacres Mile on Sunday. Never thought that a horse from Oak Harbor would do that. You know, God, I miss talking to Carl before those big races. It seems like just yesterday, 2011, when he was the Grand Marshal of our 4th of July parade here. Someone that did so much good in this community. You know, I think that the philanthropy and the effort that he put in, you know, Oak Harbor is such a better place for that. And I think the lesson for us all to take out of that is we might not all end up in a position in our lives to where we can help build a skate park or to where we can help build a ball field or dig a lagoon at the beach. But I think we all can be good, decent people and try to make a difference like Carl did. So what a moment it was on Sunday. Pretty cool. Just want to congratulate the whole family and thank them for everything they do for the community. Speaking of which, gosh, the paving job that has been getting done on East Whidbey, incredible. So look forward to you know, all of these road projects that are going to continue here. And finally, you know, I think we'll see everybody down at the Hydros for Heroes this weekend. I'm certainly looking forward to that. You know, I heard a rumor, and I think Councilmember Wiesner could confirm this. Is the captain of the base getting in a rescue pod at the pool on Friday?
Yes, we're going to have 24 hours to get him certified as a hydro driver, and we're going to release him on the course to actually drive a hydroplane on Saturday.
That's amazing. So I certainly hope to be down there to see that. And the the constructive public comment that we had tonight. You know, I think council heard every single person that spoke tonight, and I don't know how quickly the city can do something about this, but good God, people, drive more careful. I don't know if this is a COVID thing or what, but they are racing up and down every road in this town right now. So drive more careful, and the city will certainly look into this. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember Hoffmeyer. Any other council comments? Yeah, Councilmember Stuckey, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to take a moment to thank staff for those wonderful videos on West Whidbey and how to use the splash park. It's kind of cool to see local government at work. You know, a lot of people reached out, what's going on with West Whidbey? What's going on with West Whidbey? They reached out to us, we reached out to staff, and there's a video. You know, there's concerns about the splash park. It is kind of confusing. How does this work? They reached out to us, we reached out to staff, and there's been a video. So it is lovely and great to see the impact that public comment and people writing to us have directly and indirectly. And those videos were well done. I think, you know, when it comes to West Whidbey, which we keep saying we need to do and we will do, but at least we gave them the reason why it's not happening this year. And I think most people understand it. So thank you to staff for making those wonderful videos, and look forward to seeing more in the future.
Thank you, Councilmember Stuckey. Councilmember Munns.
Thank you. The TBD signs that have been put up look great around the city, and it's right by the project, and they're easy to read. You don't have to squint and slow down and have the car hit you behind because you can read them. And the people doing the projects and actually doing the paving or the sealing are very nice, and they try to get you through as fast as they can, and it's been wonderful. Shout out to the police department with the police release this afternoon for Claire, Mike, and Mel for the arrest and following through. This is wonderful. We should shout out, and they do a lot with just a little. This Saturday is Jamboree by the Sea. It's a children's activity at Fort Casey from 10 a.m. to 2. I do know that just because I have to assist with it is Oak Harbor Youth Sailing will have an exhibit there, but they'll have all kinds of kids' activities if you have time to go before the hydros. So anyway, and actually we will have a boat out on Sunday on the corner. And I would like to make a statement to council, please. I spoke with our city attorney today, and I have released the HR investigative report. I don't know when it will be sent out, but I wrote a formal email to her, and I called her, and I let her know. What I'm asking is that you read the whole thing. Only one side has really been told. I've given one statement, and this is my statement for tonight. After going over the report and looking at things, and I know I have been consistent, whoever I've talked to, it's been the same thing and the same details. I absolutely deny threatening anyone. I simply had a private conversation with the city administrator to express a concern over any potential reaction by friends or family at an upcoming memorial service. Mr. Oburn chose to weaponize my concern and unjustly smear me by making a police report and ordering an internal human resource investigation. I believe this was in retaliation for my support for a no confidence resolution in him last fall, 2021, a fact brought up during the same conversation that I had with him. Our police chief found no cause to proceed any further and closed the file. Some 3 weeks before Mr. Oburn ordered his HR investigation. The manner of investigation is a gross conflict of interest and utterly biased. The HR generalist who performed it reports directly to the HR director who endorsed it and Mr. Oburn. if there was any need for an investigation, which there was not, it should have been referred to an independent, objective, outside investigator, and not to an employee directly reporting to the complainant. Thank you very much, and I just hope you'll consider that.
Thank you, Councilmember Munns. I'm just looking for any more hands. If there are any more comments. If not, I've got a couple of council member comments of my own. I also want to tip my hat to staff for their efforts at communicating with the public recently, between the videos and the signage for the Transportation Benefit District. I think that the increase in interaction with the public and the feedback that we're getting is a direct reflection of the amount of outreach that staff is doing, and that two-way communication is absolutely invaluable. So thank you, staff, for continuing to reach out to the public in a variety of ways. And I think that we're really kind of starting to see the fruits of that labor in the amount of interaction and comments that we're getting. And on that note, thank you to everyone that came tonight and or wrote in. The traffic issue is definitely something that's on our radar. I don't think we've gotten an update from staff on possible solutions or what kind of things we're looking into. So hopefully, maybe at our next meeting, I don't know if that would be our city engineer or our public works director, but it would be nice to get an update on what some potential solutions would be. I know that our options are limited, but it really sounds like a dangerous problem, and it's something that we need to try to mitigate as much as possible. And I'm really sorry to hear from the Gary Oak Society about the damage that was done both to the interpretive sign and the actual trees. I really hope that the damage done in the pocket park in that garden was accidental and not malicious. But hopefully we can get to the bottom of that and we can prevent something like that from happening again. And I have a question for our police chief. I don't know if he is there, and you don't have to answer me in public, but I am curious about the graffiti in the park and whether or not we were able to catch that on our surveillance cameras. I know we do have security cameras in the park, and this is exactly the kind of thing that we were hoping to prevent. And if we couldn't prevent it, then maybe at least solve and get the people responsible for because things like graffiti in the park for not just taxpayer funded things, but volunteer funded and installed things, that's absolutely not okay. So hopefully we can get to the bottom of that. Did I hear Chief Director?
Mayor Pro Tem, I'll just comment real quick on that. And you're right, you want to be a little bit careful on ongoing investigations, but I don't have the answer to that specific incident. We've been working through some bugs on those cameras. For the most part, we have those bugs worked out. I will research that further to find out if we have anything on that. So we certainly have a good system in there now, and hopefully we have something, but I can't otherwise comment on it.
That's fine. I figured you couldn't even if we did, but thank you. Yeah, and I'd be real curious to know if we can get to the bottom of that, because that kind of malicious damage is not okay. All right, just one more scan for hands, and we will move on. And thank you to council. For those watching at home or those in chambers, even though council is there in chambers, I've had them all log into Ring Central because I can see on the dashboard who has their hand raised and and how they're voting. It's really streamlining things and making them very easy for me. So at council, I realize that that's something different than our usual routine, and it's working beautifully on my end, and so I really appreciate your cooperation. So next up, we've got contracts and agreements, the construction contract for Portland Lewis, and to present, we have our project manager, Brett Arvidsson. Mr. Arvidsson, go ahead.
Good evening. Kim?
Okay, yes, good evening. I'm Brett Arberson, a project manager for the city. We're here to talk about Flintstone Park, our Portland Lose project. Okay. Give you some background on the project. We intend to replace the restrooms at Flintstone Park with Portland Lose. These were actually purchased at the same time we purchased the loos for Windjammer in 2019. We just hadn't gotten around to installing them. The project involves demolishing the existing restrooms, constructing a new slab, new water sewer connections, new electrical service, and relocating the video camera system. Here's the existing restrooms we have down there. They've been very vandalized over the years. As a matter of fact, we had to close in the summer. They were vandalized again, and it was not worth fixing them with the new loos coming in. And this is a picture of the loos we're replacing. The ones we're putting in are identical to this, and we'll have 2 of them down there. Well, anyway, after last work session, we finalized the drawings, advertised the project for bid, and publicly opened the bids on August 3rd. The results were Valdez Construction Incorporated was the apparent low bidder at $107,910. P&W Civil was the second bidder at $111,000. I'm not going to go through all the numbers. P&L General Contractors was at $149,000. Our engineer's estimate after the work session was about $100,000 to $125,000, so it's right in where we thought. We did have a little discrepancy with the parent low bidder. We had a minor informality going on. They failed to list their subcontractors. There was a discrepancy in the contract documents, and we corrected that very quickly. We don't feel it was material to this, so we're recommending waiving that informalities. So we would recommend moving ahead with the apparent low bidder. This would require a budget amendment. We'll be doing that at a different date. We discussed that at the last work session, so it'll happen in the future. And per our purchasing policy, we'll have a changeover allowance of about 20%. And that's going to add up to $21,582, and that which will be administered by the Public Works Director. On our schedule, we've got through the bid period and awarding construction as we're right on schedule for that. If we can move ahead we'd start construction in September and have it finished by around Christmas time. So anyway, we have a recommendation to move to authorize the mayor to sign the construction contract with Valdez Construction Incorporated for the Flintstone restroom replacement project in the amount of $107,910.00, and authorize the Public Works Director to execute change orders up to $21,582.00 in total. Questions?
Thank you, Mr. Arvidsson. Before we turn to council, I will ask if any members of the public have submitted any questions.
No, Mayor
Or any
Pro
public
Tem.
comment?
We received no input from the public on this item.
Okay, and is there anyone present in chambers who would like to comment? I don't see anybody on the camera. Okay, with that, I will turn to council.
Just a
Councilmember
minute.
Munns, go ahead.
Ms. Heisen, I raised my hand, but I guess you didn't see it on your screen. I just took it down.
Oh, you took it. I'm sorry. Did you have your hand raised for the previous?
Yep.
Oh, okay.
Mr. Arvidsson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know you're tearing down, so the stuff has to be hauled away, and you talked about new sewer connection. Can it be done on the grass part, or do we have to go out into the street that we redid recently, like within a year or so, repaving and stuff? So I'm just curious.
Actually, we got lucky. There is an existing line that goes out, sewer line that goes out to the shelter, so we're actually keeping everything on the grass.
Oh, good, okay. I'm
Yeah,
just
so
afraid that beautiful street that you guys worked so hard to repair and this and that.
We actually were
okay.
worried we'd have to go out into the parking lot. Then we found this other sewer, so it saved us a lot of pavement rehabilitation. So.
Okay, that's good news. Thank you. Just curious. I knew all that other stuff, but not that connection. Thank you.
Councilmember Hoffmeyer.
Yeah, a couple of questions. Well, one point in the question, I guess. I do not like change orders. Personally, yeah, I couldn't fathom on why something this straightforward there would be any. So that'll be my hope, is that the contractor doesn't turn any change orders in. Second question, I'm not looking for a gotcha moment here, but I believe that council was pretty clear that they wanted the slab of the existing bathroom to come out. Is that going to be the case?
Yes, it's the case. That's
Awesome.
I remember I raised the
Correct.
budget
Yes.
amount for that.
So just wanted to make sure that's what was happening. So
No,
looks good.
Yeah, we're gonna put grass down.
Looks good.
Okay.
Any other council questions, comments, motions?
Mayor Pro Tem, I'll make a motion if there's no other questions.
Go ahead.
I move to authorize the mayor to sign the construction contract with Valdez Construction, Inc. for the Flintstone restroom replacement project in the amount of $107,910 and authorize Public Works Director to execute change orders up to $21,582 in total.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Munns that looks just like the recommended action, second by Councilmember Hoffmeyer. Any additional questions or comments before I call for a vote? All right, all those in favor, please press yes on Ring Central. Stuckey, Marshall. Yes, yes, yes. Councilmember Stuckey, you have your hand raised. Did you have a comment or a question?
Well, I just was a little unclear if you also wanted just to raise your hands to approve or not approve so people in the audience could see as well.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for the reminder. Yes, please, vote yes or no in the Ring Central app. And if your vote is yes, please also raise your hand so that those present in chambers know how you're voted. Thank you very much. Okay, and I am also voting yes, and that appears to be unanimous. All right, motion passes. Thank you. Thank you for working with me, guys. Okay, next item. We've got a Arterial Preservation Program grant application for pavement overlay at West Whidbey Avenue. And to present on this item, we have our city engineer, Alex Warner. Go ahead, Mr. Warner.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. I also have our grants manager, Wendy Horn, here to explain the grant program.
Good evening, Mayor Pro Tem and council members. I'm Wendy Horn. We are proposing 2 grant applications for your consideration tonight. They both are the Transportation Improvement Board. One is the Arterial Preservation Program, and the other one is for the Urban Arterial Program. Is this work? Am I doing this?
It should.
So the Transportation Improvement Board, the TIB, they fund high-priority transportation projects in communities throughout the state to enhance the movement of people, goods, and services. Their values are to improve and innovate, manage projects to ribbon cutting, dollars in the ground, not in the bank, and a catalyst for project completion. They get their funding through a 3-cent statewide gas tax. And then the Arterial Preservation Program, the APP, is funding for overlay of federally classified arterial principal minor roads in cities with a population greater than 5,000 and an assessed value of less than $3 billion. The city of Oak Harbor obviously meets both of those criteria and is therefore eligible for the grants. There is a local match of 15%, but West Whidbey is classified as a minor arterial, and I'm going to have Alex is going to share the good details about it.
Okay, thank you. So we're all aware of the condition of West Whidbey Avenue. This grant is specific to the overlay costs to repave the road. There is some other work we need to do prior to that overlay. And per our pavement condition index pavement rating, West Whidbey is a 51 out of 100, which is classified as poor. So we know it is in a poor state. So let's see. We're estimating that the overlay portion of the project will be $570,938, with that 85% covered by the TIB grant we're applying for. The remaining 15% will be covered by our Arterial overlay fund. So this does not include any of the work for the water main replacement. That is currently being designed by Gray and Osborne, and that is being paid by that water utility fund. So we ask that council authorize the mayor to allow us to apply for this grant. I have the grant application nearly complete, and it is due this Friday. Thank you.
All right, at this time, I will ask if we've received any public comment on this issue.
No, Mayor Pro Tem, we did not receive any comment from the public.
And is there anyone present in chambers that wishes to make a public comment?
No, there is not.
Okay, at this time, I will turn to council, and I see Councilmember Stuckey has his hand up. Go ahead, Councilmember Stuckey.
Yeah, great to see grants for West Whidbey, of course. And the grant we're going to talk about next. My question for this: when you apply for this grant, are you having to specify the scope of the overlay? That is to say, are you having to say this is for up to Fairhaven, up to Heller, or is it just general?
That is defined, and this is from Jib to Oak Harbor Street. Additionally, Jib is where West Whidbey narrows down to a narrow 2-lane section with no shoulders. So we're focusing on that because that is the area that has the water main that needs to be replaced. And additionally, we met with a representative from the TIB. They said they're not going to cover any of the costs for the 10-foot wide parking lane on the south side of Whidbey. So this is specific to the travel lanes and some additional width for bike lanes to be added. It is from Jib to Oak Harbor.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Councilmember Hoffmeyer.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, looking out here, looking at Alex, looking at Wendy. I mean, you guys are so good in your field, and we're so fortunate to have you guys. Just like Councilor Stuckey said, very, very excited to be talking about West Whidbey and Northeast 7th coming up next, right? But I think for the public to hear again and again and again that we are already working on West Whidbey. We're under contract right now designing the new water main, and seeing this grant here, this is incredibly exciting, and I guess we will find out what road is next once this is done, huh? Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Councilmember Wiesner.
Yes, I was just going to jump in with the praise also. Great job. I mean, it's, it's a hot topic, right? What did we have? 323 comments on, I think, the last Facebook post involving West Whidbey Avenue. So, yeah, great. This is, and like Councilmember Hoffmeyer says, this has all been in the works, and unfortunately, sometimes it seems like it moves painfully slow, but there's an order. We have a pretty major water main project to do there. At the same time, we're looking at not raising utility rates and funding that, and we were able to, help that out with the ARPA funds, to maybe offset some of the costs of that. And now, look, we're going to be able to apply for a grant, to help out some of the costs. And therefore, we're going to be able to divert that money that we would have spent out of the city coffers elsewhere to do work in the city where we can't get grants and we don't have funds to transfer in. So there is a big picture. Certainly, the Transportation Benefit District, starting a couple of years ago, and then laying out the plan to over the next 7 years touch most of the major streets in the city. Was the start of it, and this is the continuation. And we appreciate all your hard work and hard effort and looking at these innovative ways to come in with these funds so that we can make best use of the dollars we've got. Thank you very much.
Councilmember Munns.
Thank you. Alex, you were saying that they were covering the travel lanes and the new bike lane, but not the parking lane. And if my memory serves me right, a lot of that parking is just kind of yuck, whatever. Grass, gravel, pine cones. It's just, so are we're gonna pay for repaving of that parking?
So this is specific to the parking lane on the south side of the road, which actually is in better condition than the travel lanes.
Okay.
So I believe you're referring to the parking on the north side of the road.
Okay.
So
Yes. All right.
the roadway prism will stay the same width. It's just that if we want to also repave the 10-foot parking lane on the south side of the road, that'll have to be covered by the city's local funds. The grant program won't cover that.
Okay, understand. It's pretty much a major arterial. I mean, there's a lot of traffic that goes back and forth, and it just seems odd that one parking lane is paved and the other side isn't. You would keep it consistent. So if there's money, you'll let us know, or do you have to, wait to see that we get the grant first, which sounds like we are. Excellent grant writer and excellent engineer to get it done. So is that considered as long as you're paving part of it and the things, then can you do the other parking?
Yeah, and from what we've seen, the parking on the north side of the road is utilized a lot more than the parking on the south side of the road.
Yeah.
So it's in the early stages of design, but one thought is to have parking exclusively on the north side of the road, and then use that additional width from the parking on the south side for the bike lanes.
Okay.
So that's an option, and we'll get more info to you as we move forward with the design.
Okay, I know that there has been a movement in past years to make most of our streets just parking on one side. But when you look at the neighborhoods and if they rent their house out to some sailors, they park on both sides and not just one. And I guess if that's gonna be covered and that becomes the bike lane, but it looks like a finished product, especially if it's a street that is used so much that if you leave one side with gravel and grass and whatever ends up there, and then the other side, you've got the nice parking there, but that housing there, the little cottages and stuff like that were built much later than the houses on the other side. It just seems like it's unfinished. I hate to be picky, but aesthetically, when you drive through and you see streets, so.
We'll take that into consideration.
Okay. All right, thank you. Just a
Yep.
comment.
Sure.
Great job.
Councilmember Hoffmeyer.
I don't see any other hands. If you didn't have anything, Tara, I'm ready to make a motion.
I don't. Go ahead.
Okay. I move to authorize the mayor to sign the grant application up to $485,297 for the Arterial Preservation Program, APP, provided by the Transportation Improvement Board, TIB, for the pavement overlay of West Whidbey Avenue.
Second.
All right, we have a motion by Councilmember Hoffmeyer to approve the recommended action as presented, second by Councilmember Stuckey. Any additional comments, questions, concerns from council before I call for a vote? Okay, I don't see any hands. All right, all those in favor, please vote yes in Ring Central, and then physically raise your hand in council chambers. 1, 2, 3. And I will also vote yes, so that appears to be unanimous, and that motion carries. Thank you. All right, next up, Urban Arterial Program Grant for Northeast 7th Avenue. And is this going to be Alex Horn, or is this going to be Ms. Horn?
Wendy is going to, I'm just going to talk a little bit about the UAP, what it is. I'm not going to go over what the TIB is again, because you know. So the Urban Arterial Program provides funding for projects that improve safety, commercial growth and development, mobility, and physical condition on a federally classified route. It's available to cities with a population greater than 5,000 and a project consistent with state, regional, and local transportation plans. And of course, we meet those criteria as well. So we would like to apply for this grant. Again, there's a 15% match, and Alex is going to explain what we are asking for.
Oh, fast. Okay, so Northeast 7th, we all know the deficiencies of this road, and they're really focused on the pedestrian and bicycle connections. So this project is the #1 defined priority street project in our 2016 transportation element. As for the construction phase of this project, so we currently are in design, and that phase of the project is funded. We have $540,000 from the Surface Transportation Block Grants. That's through the IRTPO. So that's sitting waiting for us to use for construction. But we are estimating the cost of the project will be approximately $1.6 million. And if you recall, that's down from about $7.5 million a year ago. So we have been working very hard to reduce the cost of this project, finding every way we can to reduce the cost, make it feasible to fund it, but also provide those pedestrian connections. So this UAP will assist in covering that funding gap. So here's a handy table I put together. What we have on hand from the IRTPO Surface Transportation Block Grant is $540,000 with an $84,277 local match. What we're asking to apply for now is a TIB UAP for $837,185 with the local match there shown. So those two grant funds and our local match that is required for these grants totals $1,609,200. So with that, again, we are working on that grant application currently, and it is also due this Friday. So we ask that council approve this motion to have the mayor sign the grant application. And I can take any questions. Thanks.
Thank you. Before I turn to council, I will ask Julie if we have any public comments submitted.
No, Mayor Pro Tem, we received no public comment on this item.
And is there any members of the public in council chambers who wish to speak?
No, there are not.
Okay, at this point, I will turn to council and Councilmember Hoffmeyer.
I'll keep this as related to this agenda item as I can. I think one of the most important things said here, though, was $7.5 million can be 1.6, and I think it's important for us all to remember not to do political engineering and to let you guys do your job. This is amazing. This is some of that value engineering we talked about, and gosh. Going all the way back to the middle of that picture board where Paul Brewer and Danny Pagao are super young men, this road was being talked about. It's been 20-something years that this road has needed severely done. I go down this road, gosh, a half a dozen times a day. It is severely deficient, especially in the winter months when you've got kids walking to school in the dark, in the rain, in the fog. I think council's made pretty clear this is one of our top priorities, and to see that you are getting it to where it's affordable, to where it's feasible to do it, because that 7.5 million may not have been. So again, thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Hoffmeyer. Councilmember Stuckey.
Well, I don't see other hands, so I guess I'm granted the honor of making the motion. I move to authorize the mayor to sign the grant application up to $837,185 for the Urban Arterial Program provided by the Transportation Improvement Board for the Northeast 7th Avenue Improvement Project.
Second.
All right, we have a motion from Councilmember Stuckey to approve the recommended action as presented with a second by Councilmember Munns. This one I will look, see if there are any hands, any additional comments, questions, concerns. All right, seeing none, all those in favor, please vote yes in Ring Central and then physically raise your hand in Chambers. All right, and that all appears to be unanimous and that motion carries. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, my clock says 7:30. So at this time, council will take a brief recess and then we will move into executive session to discuss with legal counsel litigation or potential litigation. On my notes, I have the executive session is expected to last for 25 minutes, but there's also a note that Hillary has indicated we may want to add a second topic in executive session. So is the 25 minutes total or should we make it like 40 minutes, 45 minutes?
I think we should start at 25. I think we can do it.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
I think 25 should be sufficient.
You think so? Okay. So, so let's take a 4-minute recess and we will convene in an executive session at 7:35 for, let's say 30 minutes. Okay, so then we will reconvene in chambers at 8:05.
All right, time.
Thank you. All right, at this time, council will resume its regular session. No action was taken in executive session, and we have reached the end of our regular agenda. So at this time, I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
Move to adjourn.
Second.
All right, was that Councilmember Wiesner that moved to adjourn?
Yes.
Did I hear that right? Perfect. Okay, so motion Councilmember Wiesner, second by Stuckey to adjourn. Any comments, questions, concerns? Nope, seeing none. All those in favor, raise your hand. Aye. Perfect, that is unanimous. We are adjourned. Thank you so much.